Now, I don't know how many of you have studied physics, but unipolar is unstable. Right? And in point of fact, I mean, it takes a long time for world events to change. I mean, 89 to now is 30 years, right? But I think that we see, I mean, America is still very, very powerful, but it is no longer number one, at least according to what I'm saying. But the point is that, so the word of free markets, and then what happened, like most things, you know, you do something and it's good, and you do more and it seems better, and you do more and you end up drunk, you know. And so that's really what happened, if you look at it. I mean, this whole thing exploded because freer the better, Babu. Freer the better. Jo karna hai karo, you know. I mean, you do whatever you can to get around. I mean, ultimately what happened is the regulators also got captured, and the markets just, it wasn't a market. It was just, it became anarchy in many senses, with a few people controlling things. So if that was the kahani of the previous world, the new world will certainly be different than that, right? Change means that only. So the new world will be not so much about freedom, but about management and control. And which also then speaks to why China is the number one. I mean, look what they have been doing, right? They have been fully capitalist. I mean, they are out there in the market system, but they are running things for themselves their own way, right? And people have been going on and on and on. Ke Baba, you know, one day China will pay. You can't keep the currency so undervalued, and inflation will go up, and this will happen. Human rights का problems है, बहुत तकलीफ है. 15-20 साल से वो लोग कहते रहते हैं. And China produces 9% growth, 10.5% growth. They continue, right? And so they had these institutions created, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, to give cheap loans. And so this is a very interesting point he's making, that if the genesis of this cheap housing, which then of course got extrapolated to infinity by the private sector, but if the genesis is this fundamental gap in education, right? I mean, then that's a fundamental problem. You know, you can't fix it just by pushing a button, you know. And if that is true, and it does appear that it's true, to me there is no question then over the next decade or whatever, America has to turn leftwards politically, right? I mean, if your problem is that you have such a huge gap in income and people recognize there is no chance of their getting ahead, and this is a very media-driven society. This is not, the society doesn't have the benefit that India has, which is that God lives here, you know. So it does. That's really one of our greatest strengths, you know. I mean, it has to turn leftward. Now, I know the evidence right now is the opposite, right? The Tea Party both natak karte hain. Mr. Obama is in revolt, you know, in a lot of trouble. They're saying he's too left-wing. But I don't think, if this is a fundamental problem, and I just believe it is, I don't think there's any question that America will turn leftward politically. And I think what I've written in this article is that in 2016, you know, after, I believe Obama will be re-elected anyway, because the economy will turn around and he'll be fine. So, and in 2016, you will see either the beginnings or the evolution of a new kind of America. An America which will have a lot of the social. I don't feel either of those really have the weight.
At some stage, the talks were going on to the BRIC. We should add small s representing South Africa.
Right, right. And that's Goldman Sachs. Maybe I'm not Goldman Sachs. I got my own story. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Since China is emerging as a big economy, do you see Chinese yuan emerging as a common currency of trade instead of USD? Or maybe say a commodity like gold becoming as a common exchange for the international trade?
See, it's a very difficult question. You know, China in fact was suggesting that the SDR should be made a, you know, where, see, one thing is clear, that you know, all these years people have been saying, oh, China should let the currency appreciate, etc., etc. India should do this, Japan should do this. Ultimately, people do what they think is sensible, right?